Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelly, and today I am going to be talking about what I've read so far, what I'm reading, what I'm getting ready to start reading for Epistolary January. So first, I decided to get the audiobook for Daddylonglegs from Libby, and this is by Webster. I wish I would have listened to this with my kids because I think they would have enjoyed this, but this was kind of just while I'm doing housework listen. And it was so much fun. So we have an orphan. She's been in an orphanage her whole life. And there's this patron who has only ever sponsored boys. They've never had anyone in the orphanage sponsored to get an education after leaving the orphanage. And this man especially tends to prefer the male orphans over the female orphans. But there's something about reading this girl's work and what she's done that makes him decide that he is going to be her sponsor. And she never has met him. She's only seen him walking away and knows that he's very tall. So the only stipulation is that she has to write him letters about herself and what's going on. And she can't expect to get responses back. She's dealing with his secretary. He's very generous. He sends her Christmas presents, but she's kind of irritated, this young girl, by not getting a response or like just kind of not knowing who he is, being in the dark of who this person is. So sometimes she's a little bit irreverent when she's talking to him, and so she nicknames him Daddylonglegs. And so I really enjoyed it. I think that ending would maybe bother some people, but I think it's great and just kind of a reflection of the times that they were in. And I do recommend it. It's Daddylonglegs by Webster. So the next book that I went to after this was the Guernsey. I know I'm so behind. You're saying right away when you hear me say this, you haven't read this one yet. The Guernsey literary and let's try this again. The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. There we go. Okay, so I was concerned about this one at first because I started listening to it shortly after finishing what I talked about in my previous update for Epistolary January video, The Last Christmas in Paris. Well, of course, we have two different world wars. The Last Christmas in Paris is World War I and this is World War II, but we still have, and this is post-World War II. World War II is over. So we're dealing with the community that has been occupied by Germany on Guernsey Island. And the thing that was very similar is the lady in Last Christmas in Paris and the main protagonist in this book as well are both writers, and they also both have really irritating boyfriends pursuing them. So that's where a lot of the similarities end, except they're both very spunky, but I was afraid it was going to be too similar. They ended up being very different books, but so she gets contacted by somebody from Guernsey and finds out about this society that existed in the war to help people that were stuck out after curfew so that they wouldn't get in trouble with the Germans. So much beautiful letter writing, so many fun characters from this island. There is a story where we are trying to find out if someone has actually survived that was taken off to a concentration camp because they have a child. I mean, it's there are definitely like some love triangle things, but not really, because I don't really like love triangles, but there's kind of almost that, but not really. But just really, it's about the characters of people on this island, how strong they were, how they helped each other, how they were kind. And, we got little glimpses of the German race is not evil. There were good people too. And I just thought it was great. I will say about 60% through, it was clean as far as language and everything. And there's no sexual content or anything, but 60 to 70% through the book, there was some language. And it's brief, but it's GD, which I typically is like, you know, I'm done after that. But there are some exceptions, East of Eden, and this is another exception I made because it was brief and it kind of moved on. So I think that actually Candlebook Library talked about this a little bit in her video. She is a fan of the book and even more so of the film, which I have not seen the film yet. All right, and now what I'm going to be continuing on with is, of course, The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. I am absolutely loving this. I am reading this with my dear friend Courtney Reads and my dear friend Bethany Brings Books. So this is, as Bethany said, atmospheric, and in other words, she uses immersive. And so she gets all the credit for describing the book perfectly. You kind of feel like you're with the characters. The Woman in White is very mysterious. We have a main guy who is trying to figure out what's going on, and it all ends up going to one family, and we've got so many different things going on, but I'm not going to really tell you anything about it because you need to just read it for yourself. Good mystery so far. I've got about 135 pages left, so by the time I talk to you again, I will have finished. All right, and now I just, like last night, a little bit started listening to Evelina, and this is by Frances Burney. And this is about a young lady. Unfortunately, it seems like she has come into the world legitimately due to like a bear. I think her dad was a baron's indiscretion with her mother, and she's kind of being taken care of by like a reverend type person. And she's been invited to go to kind of be with society in London. And so that is what the letter exchanges are going to be about. There will be different characters exchanging letters dealing with this storyline. And then last but not least, Friday when I'm filming this, probably Sunday, with my family, we are going to start listening to the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. If you're not familiar with this book, basically, one of the fallen angels is having a conversation with his evil boss about how can we get those Christians. It's very interesting. I know some of it will be a little too grown up for them. Might springboard some conversations. I hope you guys are doing great and read a lot, sending lots of love to you. I hope you're staying warm. Bye-bye.